Life after college in Gen Z. Now, I'm just going to be checking this out. I didn't go to college. I tried to. It was during COVID, if you guys remember that. And then they extended spring break twice, and then I never got an email back, so I didn't go to college. But hey, like Kanye said, you don't need college.
This is the moment you've been waiting for. Graduating college. Your entire life has been spent working towards this very moment. All the hard work, sleepless nights, doubt and uncertainty. But with the current state of the world, was it all even worth it?
Depends on you.
I'm gonna beat someone up. I wanna know who's responsible for the current state of the world right now. You know, in a time where everything just seemed to be, you know, a lot more affordable. You know, how you could have your own place and not have to move in with roommates just to split rent, just to survive. You know, when you were able to buy groceries. You know, back when college guaranteed you a good life. Why is it that I look at most people graduating college now, and it seems like they study for this job for like 4 to 8 years and they don't even get it? They don't get this job that they specifically have been studying for so long. It makes you wonder, because wasn't this like everyone's dream? How our parents always say, go to college, get an education, so you can get a good high-paying job. But what happens if you do all of that? If you go to college, you get your degree, and you don't get a high-paying job. In fact, you don't even get any job at all. Well, that's what we're seeing now, because that is exactly what is happening. Because right now, you know, millennials are all adults now, like they're all grown up. Now it's Gen Z's turn, but it seems as if, you know, with the current state of the world right now, that just doesn't seem possible anymore. You know, I've already talked about my experiences, you know, being life after high school.
Yeah, I checked out this video. It was a good video. It was a year ago? That's crazy.
In Gen Z. And for those of you that have seen that video, you will know that I actually did not go to college. So why the heck am I talking about life after college if I am at all not experienced at all? I don't have the qualifications to talk about this.
Yes,
life
you can.
After college, you know, that means that you're done with school. There is no more school to be had for you. You know, you're in the workforce now. And I said that in that video because that's exactly what I did, is that after high school, I just went straight into the workforce because I needed money. And that's what other people out of college do. It's delayed for them. It's just pushed back because they're saving themselves for another job. So I have some friends that are you know, of that time.
Okay, Master Chief.
Around that time, everyone's graduating now. You know, people are graduating high school.
Okay.
People are graduating college. I was even just at a college party. I know, crazy. Kid who doesn't go to college goes to college parties.
What was you doing at them college parties, dog?
Somehow. And a lot of them are graduating around this time, but there's one thing on their mind all the time. Every single one of them. One thing that they always told me, you know, when we were having a conversation about like what it's gonna be like once they're done, is
light-skinned lion. Whoa.
Is it even still possible to get a job anymore, you know, for the degree that they were studying it? Because it seems that now trying to get a job in Gen Z is like the hardest thing imaginable. It is so incredibly difficult. Some of them are not even real. We're fighting over jobs that don't even exist. You know, one common thing you always hear throughout your childhood is enjoy it now while it lasts, because it's not gonna last forever. I was like, what are you talking about, man?
I'm not gonna lie. To be honest, a lot of human beings should start grinding in high school. Like, I remember in high school, I was selling Pop-Tarts, sodas. That was my first entrepreneurship, and it made me a lot of money when I was younger. On top of that, I started content creation as well. Like, I wish you had a time machine so you can go back and do the same thing. But what you can do instead is encourage your nieces and nephews to start doing something while they're still young and still going through high school, and they can figure it out. Especially nowadays, like, the barrier entry to content creation is just so small. So you can help the next generation if you doomed yourself. Unfortunate, but you can still make it. You still have time.
And you know, when you're an adult, you know, you get all this freedom. You know, you can stay up past your bedtime. You can go out. You know, you have your own car. You have your own money. Like, you're basically rich, man. What? You make $1,000 a month? That's like, what? I don't even make 20. Now that I'm in that position, it almost makes me wonder, what is it like for those people? Do these people wish they can just go back and just live through college forever? Because that's the one thing.
Some people try and do that.
College, on average, you know, college doesn't last forever. It only lasts for, you know, on average between 4 to 8 years.
Some people
but then
go
what
back.
happens when that's done? You're supposed to get a job and move on with your life. For a concerning amount of people, that just seems to be the end of their lives, the end of their social life. I mean, because, you know, you make all these friends, you know, you make all these relationships, all these connections with people during your college years. You know what they say, the prime time of your lives. Your 20s are something to be remembered, because, you know, your life during college, even though I don't go to college, I have a lot of friends that are in college, and I've even met a few people. But during college, this is where you see a lot of people making, you know, all their friendships, relationships, and connections. Just like high school, you know, when you graduate high school, when you graduate college, they all move on. Most of the time, most of them just move move on into their own lives. Because that's just how it works. You know, they have their own lives. They have their own work schedule. They have their own relationship. They just move on. They meet other people. But some people don't do that. Some people, that's like the end of their social life entirely. It's like they go to work and that's it. There's no more. I even experienced this myself early on. Like even right when I turned 18, 19, when I was working full time at the job that I still work at now, it just felt as if my life was just put on a halt. There was nothing more to look forward to because that was it. That was just my life. I wake up, go to work early enough to avoid traffic in the morning, stay there for like 8 to 10 hours, then all to just go back home and have no more energy to do anything, to just unwind. Some days if I worked longer than others,
it might be time to start side questing, my friends. I've met a lot of interesting people around the world through side quest. So what is a side quest? A side quest is doing something you normally wouldn't unless you felt like you had to. So your main quest, like what's his name? Noth, like Noth says, he wakes up, he goes to work, and then he goes home. Instead of going straight home, go to the park. Bro, you can relax in nature and you can see people there and you can even interact with these people. Yeah, social anxiety, blah, 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 blah. Try it, bro. What else? You gonna sit and die in your room? Huh? You gonna just sit and die in your room? You might as well die outside. At least it looks better. You know what I'm saying?
I would just go straight home, go to bed, and come back to work that next day. It was almost as if I just lived there. Like, I just went home to go take a nap. Is that really what just awaits everyone else? Because college just delays that, you know? Because that's the whole reason you're there, to get a better version of this. And most people don't want to live that life, which is perfectly understandable. And so now, more than ever, because it's just so difficult to get a job now in Gen Z, a lot of people, you know, you see the rise of unemployment. I know a lot of this is just a joke. And you even just see people making fun of it all the time. Like, what? You have a job? Oh my gosh. I can't believe you're moving on with your life. You have to stay a child just like us. Don't grow up, man. Now, I know a lot of this is a joke, but you can't help but realize that some of this is like a legitimate problem. I look at some of these
Let me see this.
You can't help but realize that some of the
employment and unemployment. Employed 59%, unemployed 3%. Want a job but haven't searched in the previous year. Don't want a job right now. Damn, 35% of people say I don't want a job right now. I mean, for sure, you don't want a job, but you don't need to. You can just create your own thing, and when you create your own thing, that will be your job. But if you don't want to do nothing, like you're neat or you're not doing anything, I mean, bro, you cannot do anything when you're old. You should enjoy your youth because that's the only thing you don't get back. You can always go get another job if you want one. You could always create something if you want to, but you don't get yesterday again, ever. So live it while you got it, bro.
This is like a legitimate problem. I look at some of these posts and I think this can't be real. Like, some of you at this point, I don't think this is a joke anymore. Now, whether they're struggling to get a job because, you know, they just can't find an opening, or maybe it's just that they're just not presentable.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, because a lot of people just don't take care of themselves anymore. But, you know, you always want that way. You want to look presentable, and especially in front of employers. And that's why, guys, I know. I'm gonna say that we're sponsored, but bear with me. They allow me to keep this channel possible. Guys, today's video is sponsored by Tej Hanley.
Who is this? Let me see.
Tej Hanley's skincare systems are designed around routines, the same way you live your life. Simple and uncomplicated.
Yeah, bro, I'm not really in the skincare routine. You know, you find yourself a woman, they'll do skincare for you. You'll be looking good, and then, you know, you feel good. Hey, money back guarantee. Okay, 40%. That sounds good. You can
save up to 40% off your first box
20% for life.
And you get valued at $20. Ew. Plus, sign up as a member with my link down below, and you can get 20% off for life. And once again,
what do you mean for life?
For sponsoring this
what do you mean for life?
One thing I've noticed is
you know how long life is?
Says, once I'm done with this, then my life can begin. My life will begin when I get my dream job.
And when you get that dream job, you can get that sponsor cream and you wipe it on your face.
But, you know, since that's such a struggle now, when does it actually begin? You know, when does it start? Because it seems as if, you know, no one can get their dream job anymore. You know, they work all this time. You know, they say, work really hard, work for your dreams, and it'll come true.
Look, these apartments are nice, especially with the balcony, for sure. But honestly, you guys could live even better than this at fraction of the cost living outside of the city, for sure. For sure.
What happens when you do that and it doesn't become true? Because that seems like the reality for a lot of people. Now, that's not me saying, oh, don't work towards your dream. It's never gonna happen. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying no one ever talks about, when it doesn't work, when people don't achieve it, because it really just looks
it's
like
okay if it doesn't work,
if you
bro.
want to like succeed now, to do your own thing, you need to do just that. You need to do your own thing, because even now we can't even start our lives properly. Like, when does our life get to start? When can I get my own place? When can I get my own house? When can I find a partner? When can I get into a relationship?
When you start
when
looking,
can I get my dream job, my high-paying job?
When
and that's
you
another
start
thing. Life
looking,
after school just feels slow, because there's no milestones to look forward to really anymore. Because when you're growing up, oh, I just turned 13, big life milestone. Oh, I just got into high school. I'm going to sophomore year. I'm going to junior year.
Gamified life
I'm a
too
senior now.
much,
oh my
bro.
gosh, I just became an adult. I'm 18 now. Oh, I just graduated high school. Oh, now I'm going to college.
Oh, milestone.
I just graduated college.
Milestone.
Work.
Bro, there's more milestones if you want to have more milestones. Like, if you guys are gonna gamify life, gamify it to the extreme, bro. Like, say somebody needed help with something, you open up the door for them, boom, 50 XP right there. Like, that's how I gamify life. If you're gonna gamify, you should be giving yourself XP for every little win you do. Every time you do something, even if other people would say it's insignificant, bro, their opinion doesn't mean anything if you don't let it mean anything. It only hurts you if you let it hurt you, bro. Anybody can say anything to you, but it's up to you to really take it and say, yeah, that hurt me, or, oh, I made that personal. Sometimes you gotta let that shit go so you can really enjoy your life. And you can enjoy your life right now, legitimately right now, if you choose to. And it's easier said than done, for sure. We all have to work on ourselves, everybody. We all have our own vices, okay? Some people smoke cigarettes to relieve the pain. Some people go to the gym, and other people are putting heroin needles in their skin. Hopefully you are not the third person. And if you are the third person, you can still choose to stop doing that, even though it's going to be even harder, because drugs are fucking addictive.
Retirement. It's like everything's just spaced out now, because you're not hitting like any major milestones, very quickly anymore. But that's just the next step in life. That's just how it is. That's literally just life. It's honestly really scary, but that's also like the beauty of it too. That's the fun part. Once you've graduated, then, you're free to do whatever you want.
Literally.
No one can tell you what you can and can't do now.
Literally.
Except for maybe the financial situation.
Bro, that's the same thing in school. Like, there's people who didn't want to do school and they dropped out, and then they just started making music, and then they popped off.
But that's a different story. Is that it's completely
not saying that's gonna be you
now. You can do whatever you want to do. Whatever business you want to start, or if you want to even do that at all.
Ooh. Where the fuck this light-skinned lion come from, bro?
That's another thing. The other day, one of my friends that goes to like a really big university, he invited me out this one morning to go on a run with him. And as I was driving there in the morning, there was just one thought in my mind that I could not escape. When I was full-time, working in the mornings, I would drive to work in the mornings. I was driving with everyone else, with all the other adults, doing adult things, going to work in the morning. But on this particular day, I wasn't doing that. I was on a college campus going to meet up with one of my friends. But that's the thing. Everyone around me on the road wasn't those adults anymore going to work. It was people my age going to college. And that was the one thing that was just on my mind. It's like, oh my goodness, this is just an entirely different world. Yes. What I'm experiencing here is the exact same as this, but just at a different age. The baby version of it, you can say, all just contained to its own little world, its own little version of what's to come. It's cool, yeah, because this is just where you'd fit in so well right after high school, because everyone is practically the same age. This is where all the social events are. But then what happens if you're like me and didn't choose this? Well, it's off to ADM traffic for you, but hey, at least you're making more money than everyone else you knew in high school right now. However, no one ever said you couldn't join in on the fun though. But what I personally think is, it's all just an entirely structured dystopian system that nobody questions because it's worked for so long. But now with Gen Z, this generation becoming the new young adults and seeing the current state of the world right now everything we have ever known in our lives is being heavily questioned because it isn't working anymore. Not many many people cared about the economy when Subway had $5
footlongs,
but now
bro.
everyone cares because the average everyday person can't afford what used to be so readily available. Because gone are the days you could support your entire family on one salary. Gone are the days you could actually buy a house. Oh, but Gen Z is lazy. Yeah, that's easy for you to say back when you could work full-time for 2 years and buy a house cash. And now that...
Preach, bro. Put them in their place. A lot of people take their luxurious life and they say, you can get it too if you just work harder. It's not about working harder. It really is about working smarter. And when I say working smarter, like legitimately, you got to be at the right place, the right time, the right frequency. When I say this, I mean this. Whenever you show up somewhere, it's about how you present yourself. You can wear whatever clothes you want. Clothing don't mean anything. It only means something to a very specific amount of people that only really care about the outward appearance. But if you really truly honor yourself for who you are, you can walk around wearing whatever. Head held high, chest out, enjoy what it is to be you. And when you run into people, you hit them with a smile, they're gonna hit you back with one. And if you can articulate yourself well, present yourself well, you will have people that want to help you out with whatever it is because they will want to become your friend. There's a lot of things people forget about humans and humanity is we are social creatures. We are creatures. We are animals. As long as you can find something that you like about somebody and try and find more things you like about them, it's easier to create that bond. And when you have that bond, those people are willing to help you out with whatever situation. If it's a job, they might be working somewhere and they're looking for somebody and they're going to let you in because they know who you are. And that's always been the case. Don't let this college shit fool you. You go in there with a college certificate, somebody else comes in there with a college certificate, but they also know Dan in the back. Guess who's getting the job, even if you may have more experience? That guy, because he knows Dan and you don't. It literally is a social game. It's just been, they just put a whole bunch of barriers to make it pretend like it's not a social game. It's always been a social game. Always. It always has been, and it probably always will be because we are social creatures. Anthropology, go study it.
That same thing is starting to happen with the car market too. So does it really come as a surprise when Gen Z doesn't want to work any normal job? When Gen Z doesn't want to get a normal education anymore? When you can work till you can't anymore just for some lazy bozo to come along and make 10 times your hourly wage by doing basically nothing. Meanwhile, here you are working all these hours just to make ends meet, just to barely scrape by. No one in this generation has the same ambitions that the previous ones used to have.
Of course.
When was the last time someone told you they wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor? Probably not many. Even the job cards on the game of life, there isn't many people that aspire to be these things anymore. Why? Because you can't live on that salary in today's world. I even went out and asked other people in my generation.
So what do you do around here? What are you studying?
CS, computer science.
Yeah, I go here for computer science.
What are you majoring in?
Biomedical science.
Now what?
Bro, you are going to the school that majors in computer science. Of course, everybody's going to say computer science.
What can we do to circumvent the system? You know,
I'm glad he was out there actually interviewing people. That's
because
good.
everything you do after you've graduated is entirely up to you now. You are the one in control of your own life. Almost like a video game when you finish the tutorial stage. Even though we live in a society now where everyone is very closed off into themselves, that doesn't change the fact that we thrive on friendships and connections.
Yeah, which is
we
why
didn't survive all these
popular.
plagues and wars because of TikTok. When times were tough, we all got together to help each other out and get through these things.
Still do.
And that's what most people seem to lack now. The reason why our parents or older generations didn't really seem to care too much about life after school wasn't so much about the economy, but because there was more of a sense of community. One common issue with Gen Z is that most of us are just lonely. Why?
Yes,
because that's just what's been pushed to us since a young age.
Absolutely.
What's everyone's nostalgia in Gen Z? YouTube, Flash games, cool math games, YouTubers from 10 years ago. Notice how none of that really had anything to do with playing outside with friends. Though I was lucky enough to have a bit of this myself, it's becoming more and more of something kids used to do. Getting those first interactions and bonding over physical challenges. Something that's becoming more lacking in this current day and age. But it doesn't mean it's over for you if you're an introvert. I was literally known as the quiet kid in school, so trust me, I know what it's like all too well. The feeling that everything is going to collapse if you don't succeed in talking to your crush, and the little social circle you had crumbling into pieces because of your failed interaction. So you just decide to stay safe and do do nothing. But being in Gen Z, you know, the most technical generation yet, it does have its perks. It's possible to make friends now, but it's like I said earlier, you need to do something about it. We may not have survived till this point because of TikTok, but that doesn't mean it can't be used to our advantage. You can look up things to do in your city.
Look, a park!
Gatherings, group events, social events,
yeah,
you name
those
it.
as well.
Better yet, I've heard
help.
many cases of people finding their best friends because of the internet. So there's definitely things you can do and easier ways to meet new people, but it all comes back to one consistent theme. What you do from here, where you decide to go, where to take things from here, is all what you decide is the best course of action.
By the way, whenever you come to this this bridge of two different situations, understand whenever you pick left or right, when you go down this hill, you can't see what's below this hill. There's also more choices. There's always going to be more choices before you get to whatever castle you want to, whether you want to be an emperor or you want to be the diplomat. Regardless, there's going to be multiple choices branching off, and you're going to meet many different people. The first thing you need to do is just take the step, bro. That's it. Just take the actual
I'm holding
step.
out hope that maybe, you know, things will get better. Things could possibly get better, you know?
They can.
Or maybe
they really can.
The whole
it's your mindset.
solution, the solution to all of it is just simply make more money.
Yeah, which you can do.
Boom.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are right. And it's up to you to decide what you are going to be right about. Because legitimately, a lot of people, they self-sabotage and they do it subconsciously. They don't purposefully self-sabotage themselves. But you have these voices in your head, your thoughts, right? You're not your thoughts. But we forget this, or we don't know this, right? What you're thinking is just a reflection of who you are, but that's not who you are. You choose whether you want to be more positive, or you want to be more negative, or you want to make more money, or you want to be happy, or you want to be sad. And again, it's easier said than done. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, you can immediately change it. No, it's going to take time. Like everything in life goes in stages, and everything is a pattern. Everything is circular. Everything comes around and it goes around, right? Whenever they say karma is real, karma is indeed real. It's real to the fact that you do something, something will happen to you. Now, if you start taking steps to improve your life, maybe instead of, because everything is patterned, right? Maybe you used to reward yourself with like fast food or an ice cream or something. Like, oh, I did something good. Let me eat these cookies, right? Instead of eating cookies, what if you replaced it with a protein shake or some yogurt, right? If you slowly start moving your life into a healthier lifestyle, you will in return become healthy. You can go back and look at my channel. Over the 10 years, bro, I've gone from super skinny, like go watch my super early, I'm super skinny, right? And then I've been overweight, and then I've been fit, and then I got overweight again, and then I became fit again, right? It's all in stages, and it all encompasses your being of who you are. And yeah, the outside world is chaotic, and it's definitely not going to be an easy road. That being said, nobody told you life was easy. You were just coddled in school. School is bullshit, to be honest. High school, bullshit. College, bullshit. The only thing good about these institutions are the ability to make connections with other human beings. When you were in school, you were legitimately being designed to follow the system that we follow to this day. And if the system, as you can see, is not working, why would you keep following the lessons and the courses in said system, right? It's not going to make sense. So you should try and find a path for yourself, which is why everybody that cares about you should say the same thing. Be who you are. Who are you? What does it mean to be who you are? Because that's not easy for some people because they don't know who they are. You got to take time for that. Just like everything comes in time. If you think you don't have time for yourself, congratulations, you're right. You don't have time to improve yourself because you believe that. If you say, I do have the ability to work on myself, I do have time to do this, you have time for it. If you really cared, you would put something down to follow it. Just like if you're trying to date somebody, but they keep ghosting you or they leave you on red and they say, oh, sorry, I was busy. If they really cared about you, they would put something down. But you're obviously not their main priority, nor should you expect to be their main priority. It's just an example. If you want to have a better life, you should put your life as the main priority, not necessarily doing whatever it is that you're doing now. There's something that is distracting you from having the life that you want. And it's up to you to figure out what that is and what you're going to replace it with. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter if you like it, if it's being detrimental to your health, it doesn't matter. If you had a leech that was sucking you dry, but it was giving you orgasms, like, yeah, cool, you're busting nuts, but this thing is literally sucking the life out of you and you're gonna die. And some people, they think that's cool. They want to do that. That's them. What are you? You get to choose. So choose. What will you be? What will you become? And it starts now. It's not when you get a degree or a piece of paper. You say you're gonna be a doctor, lawyer, computer scientist, streamer. You say that you are that now. And you activate this in your brain. You are that now. It's not when everybody else believes it. You need to believe what you are, who you are, before anybody else can, because nobody else cares about you like you need to care about yourself. That being said, that's all I have to share with you guys. I hope you guys become better beings, bro. Like, I'm here to guide you in that. That is what I do in life, right? That is what I am doing in life. So please, Gen Z, do not give up, because you are the next generation. So stay strong. Booyah on. I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace.